This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Thursday, the 15th day of October in the year 2020. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here's what we're tracking tonight. The Guyana Sugar Corporation Guyana continued the flooding of its lands at Success on the east coast of Demerara this morning in its efforts to force squatters off. Despite many of the squatters pleading with a state-owned company, thousands of gallons of water was released on the lands to destroy the small shacks that were built by the squatters. Some were able to save their personal belongings and move to higher ground, but others said they had nowhere else to go and will now be left homeless.
Right now, we ain't working. You got to find rent every month. You got to find for pay water bill, light bill, and anything. And due to this pandemic, them ain't giving you work. Them ain't giving you work, and them ain't coming and help you. When they tell you about 25,000, you got to go register for it now. When they say they come in and give you them thing now. They have to study the poor people that were struggling right now. Them living large right now. Them enjoying their life. But we here, so who's struggling for get a better life for each other and them? This is what they're doing to we here.
All of you want the government to do is come and look into this matter. I got 2 children living in here, sir, and the minister housing can protect with that town, promise me that you're not going to see the land flood or break it down, nobody thinks. Still, they get a location for put away, right? They're going to locate something, or they're going to, till we get further notice. And yesterday come 3 o'clock in the morning, flooding everybody. People left out there and sleeping and coming in and flooding everybody. But we need them to come and look into this.
I am here because I don't have nowhere to go. I am 40 and I have 6 children. I'm a single parent. Since January month I'm not working. I cannot pay rent. You understand? I live in at the back till to 10 field in a zinc place. You understand? Now when these people come and flood us out, where would we go? Guyana is a land of many lands. Why they don't want to give us the land? Now we watch the water that we children have to live under. It's right. You tell me that this right to us.
The sugar company has been pressing the squatters to remove from the lands over the past few weeks as it intends to restart sugar cultivation in the area. The only help that came from the government was the registration of the names of the squatters with the promise of assistance to help them lawfully own their own land in the future. Today, APNU AFC Member of Parliament Amanzu Walton Desire said the action of Guyana and the government is heartless.
It affects every ethnic race, irrespective of political affiliation. And so I believe that the actions of the government, that it's callous. I look with much distress, seeing single mothers, packing up their bundles and trekking out there with their children, having no idea where they are going to go.
She said many persons have been forced out of their homes during the ongoing coronavirus pandemic, and some systems should have been put in place to assist the squatters rather than to flood them off the state lands. 2 weeks ago, the Central Housing and Planning Authority hosted an exercise to register all of the squatters. The squatters are now complaining that they have heard nothing else from that agency since then. More news coming up in a moment. Mobile Special and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobile Special and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc.
Design, photography, advertising, you name it, we do it. At Mass Global Media, we offer high-quality, versatile media and marketing solutions that will help your business reach its goals. Contact us now if you want a website developed, graphic design, social media marketing, animation, and much more by emailing info@massglobalmedia.com or call 658-5636. Mass Global Media. Vision, execution, results.
But as a people we have
weathered every storm
and risen to every challenge.
Because it is the people of Guyana
that gives it its strength.
all the people,
regardless of race,
class, or religion.
We are one people, one strength.
And now is our time. A time to rise. Together, we rise.
Mobil Special and all other Mobil lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobil Special and all other Mobil lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Welcome back. Lead counsel for the APNU-AFC in the election petition cases and opposition member of parliament, senior counsel Roysdale Ford, believes the two election petition cases which have been filed could be completed within months. During a virtual press conference this morning, Mr. Ford explained that the two petitions which have been filed by supporters of the APNU-AFC are very different from previous petitions. He said the circumstances are now very different also, and he believes that will make the difference in the timeline for the cases being heard and completed.
Last election petition was conditioned by a different set of circumstances which impacted on that period of time, as compared to these elections petitions that would have been filed. First, let me explain. The first election petition that was being filed deals only with a simple legal question, a question that was repeatedly argued in the litigation before the declaration was made by the Elections Commission, and on each and every step when it was raised, the courts told us that that was a matter for an election petition. That is the question of the validity of the recount, the validity of the recounts order, Order 60 of 2020, and whether it was competently made under Section 22 of the Election Laws Amendment Act. So that is a simple question, and I'll be bold to say that all the arguments in relation to this issue were already ventilated, documented by both sides. The authorities were laid over on both sides. The court simply deferred a pronouncement on the determination of that issue for an election petition, and we have filed that elections petition.
He said he does not see any issue that would delay that petition being examined. The other election petition case deals with the recount and the findings that were set out in the observation reports and the report of the chief election officer that said the election results lacked credibility.
Because the Elections Commission itself has engaged in a process in which would have provided each and every party to these elections with the necessary information. Therefore, that forms part of the elections petition. We have presented that information to the court, ballot box by ballot box.
Mr. Ford also said the first election petition case could be heard within 2 to 3 months, and the second one could be completed within 6 to 8 months. The opposition member of parliament also said he believes both petitions have merit and are solid cases. On the issue of the party producing its copies of statements of poll for the petitions, Mr. Ford said the petitions are not about statements of poll, but rather about the recount and what was unearthed during the recount exercise. Before the recount was completed, the APNU-AFC had claimed that its statements of poll show a victory for the party. However, it has never made copies of those SOPs public. Chief Justice Roxanne George has set next Thursday for the case management conference in the election petition cases. The petitions were filed back in August. Citing the lack of consultation on key decisions in the party, longtime member of the People's National Congress Reform, Basil Blackman, has tendered his resignation from the Central Executive Committee of the party. In his resignation letter to the party's General Secretary Amna Ali, Mr. Blackman said his decision to resign was done with a heavy heart, but for the good of his conscience. He complained that several key decisions in the party do not sit well with him, and as such he feels as though the executive of the party no longer serves its mandated purpose, since decisions are made without consultation. In thanking the party's membership, he said he's hoping that a younger candidate will be selected to fill his seat, and he will continue to work in the best interest of the people of Guyana. Blackman was a close ally of the party's leader David Granger and was awarded the Golden Arrow of Achievement under the Granger presidency. He worked in the former government as a special assistant. In the run-up to the 2015 elections, Blackman hosted fundraisers for the PNC in Atlanta, where he lived, and also contributed to the party's campaign. News source understands that in the past 2 months, concerns have been raised about some decisions in the party being made solely by the party's leader and its general secretary. Some of those decisions included selections for the National Assembly and the Regional Democratic Councils. Let's tell you now that the government has terminated the services of attorney and former magistrate Dawn Holder-Cush as director of the Competition and Consumer Affairs Commission. She was appointed to head the body in 2015. Today, she received a letter from the new chairperson of the commission, Danwanti Sugdio, who explained that her services were being terminated by the new board, which was acting on behalf of the government. There was no reason given for the dismissal, but Ms. Holder-Cush was told in the letter that the dismissal was immediate and she would be receiving 1 month's salary in lieu of notice and other allowances. In a statement on her Facebook page, Ms. Holder-Cush said the termination of her services carries the stench of political victimization, adding that she never denied her affiliation with the APNU-AFC like others did. She confirmed that no reason was given for her dismissal, but said those in authority cowardly used their friends to do their work. The attorney noted that she worked under 2 different ministers under the APNU-AFC government and there was never a problem with her work. She added that with 23 years of post-qualification experience, she knows that she will not go hungry. Under her watch in the past 4.5 years, the Competition and Consumer Affairs Commission took on a more public role and became more engaged with the media and the general public. It conducted more investigations of complaints made by consumers and ensured those consumers got justice and refunds from those businesses that flouted the Consumer Affairs Act. 3 illegal mining tunnels were discovered and destroyed during a joint operation by the Guyana Defense Force, the Police Force, and the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission in the South Rupununi region. In a statement, the Guyana Defense Force said a massive mining operation was discovered in the New River Basin area, which is about 50 miles from Guns Village in South Rupununi. While no one was found at the mining operation, 3 mining tunnels were discovered, with 2 of them appearing active. Several pieces of equipment, including a satellite dish, were also discovered. The Guyana Defense Force said due to the remoteness of the location, seizure of the equipment was not feasible. All of the equipment that were found were destroyed. Investigators believe that the persons who were conducting mining operations there may have been utilizing an illegal airstrip in Brazil, located some 2 miles south of the Guyana-Brazil border. The New River Basin is designated as a rare earth mineral reserve, and as such, mining is strictly prohibited in the area. The GDF did not say what rare mineral was being mined at the location. Cuban national Yuri Garcia Dominguez, who is facing more than 80 fraud charges in the court in relation to his operation of an unlicensed financial company, wants a proper investigation to be conducted and not the regular harassment he said is taking place. Since being released on bail on the charges, Mr. Garcia and his wife have been refunding persons who made financial investments in their operations, hoping for big returns. Today he told the media that he is still being targeted and harassed by the police. His home was recently searched again and the number of items that he borrowed to facilitate the repayments were seized. He said the seizure of the computers and other equipment may now further delay the repaying of persons who invested their money.
That is the problem. What happened yesterday is something that doesn't have any sense to me. I wanted to make this press release because it's the only way we can deliver this to the public. And that I want to understand why is the reason that they want to stop. Okay, if the order is to find monies, why you need to retrieve the devices? If you are retrieving the devices, it's because you are sure that the money is out there. So There is no way. Leave the devices. You make the search, right? There is no money. Leave the devices so that we can be able to prove that the money is not in Guyana. Simple.
The company has been accused of operating a Ponzi scheme by the Attorney General Anil Nandlal, who launched a multi-agency investigation after claiming that he had received numerous complaints from persons who made investments with the company and saw no returns. More than 17,000 persons reportedly invested their money in the company's operations. Attorney Dexter Todd, who is representing the interests of the businessman and his wife, today said when the couple is making moves to clear their names and give people their money back, the police is still moving in to seize equipment being used for repayments.
Now, you have 17,000 people who are complaining that they want their monies back. And that many of those persons are in a desperate situation now because they need their monies back. The principals of the company understands the plight these persons are in. And even without the computers and the phones, which has all the information about the bitcoins and the codes for those bitcoins, they borrowed computers. And that is to demonstrate that while CID and the police are sorting themselves out, they will do something that will move the matter forward by bringing the monies and ensuring that these people are paid.
The attorney said his clients remain innocent of the charges that have been filed against them, and they will prove just that once the cases move forward. A 46-year-old woman from here in Region 4 became the country's latest COVID-19 fatality when she passed away late Wednesday. The woman's death has taken Guyana's COVID-19 death toll to 107. In its dashboard report today, the Ministry of Health reported 31 new cases. The total number of active cases now stand at 975, with 860 of those active cases in home isolation. There are still 16 persons in the coronavirus intensive care unit. The government says it is continuing with its COVID curb operation to bring more awareness to the virus and distribute face masks across the country. A number of outreaches are scheduled for this weekend. The Georgetown City Council moved in on vendors at the Stabroek Market this afternoon and unearthed hundreds of expired food items being sold. The items were seized and dumped by the City Council that had one of its garbage trucks parked nearby during the raid. Some of the canned and bottled food items carried expiry dates of more than 3 years old. Several items were also seized and dumped after they were found with the expiry dates removed. The Director of Solid Waste Management, Walter Narine, accompanied the inspectors from the City Council during the exercise. He said some of the vendors could face charges for knowingly selling expired food items.
I say if we have to put some businesses, right, and some of these vendors before the courts, right, and let that be an example. And that alone will deter a lot of people from selling these things, right? So we are hopeful again. This is an exercise that will be done across the markets. But during the process of doing all these exercises, we're going to engage our business partners, we're going to engage our citizens, our vendors, to ensure whatever they're sold, whatever they're selling, are fit for human consumption.
The solid waste manager said he's also alarmed by the large number of expired goods that are being sold in the marketplaces. He said he is worried that the problem is becoming even bigger.
I have seen more products now. I mean, there are a couple of exercises that have been done before. We didn't have such a long expiry date, right? I've seen expiry date going back to 2018, right? And these are things, some of these things are, I mean, like Lucozade. The discoloration is amazing, right? Because Lucozade is basically yellow. Now we're seeing some of them are white, and the expiry date is 2018, 2017. And this is just not good enough. It's really not good enough.
Mr. Narine also noted that even as the City Council will continue to play its role, consumers should pay more attention to the items they purchase and the expiry dates attached to those items. Across the region is coming up next. Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc.
a strong educational foundation is a key to successful learning. Global Technology combines award-winning curriculum with innovative technology and teacher support to help students reach their potential. Our online platform creates an engaging learning experience. Using any device, you can be a part of amazing class discussions, collaborate with others, and have access to virtual learning software. With our multiple payment methods, you will never have to leave home. Find out how Global Technology can allow you to learn anything, anywhere, at any time.
Been through it all.
But as a people, we have
Weathered every storm.
And risen to every challenge.
Because it is the people of Guyana
That gives it its strength.
all the people,
Regardless of race,
class, or religion.
we are one people, one strength.
And now is our time. A time to rise. Together, we rise.
Mobil Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc. Mobil Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc. Across the region right now, Trinidad and Tobago spent over $2 billion TT on the importation of cereals, fruits and vegetables last year, according to the country's Trade Minister, Paula Gopi-Schoon. Delivering her contribution on the appropriation bill in Parliament, she said according to the Central Statistical Office, food imports were valued at approximately $5.6 billion Trinidadian dollars in 2019, creating a serious drain on valuable foreign exchange. She noted that the government will now prioritize the availability of foreign exchange for the importation of food, medicines, and manufacturing inputs. She also said that over the last 5 years, Trinidad and Tobago's average annual exports bill in the non-energy sector was $13.6 billion Trinidad and Tobago dollars, representing approximately 21% of total exports. 5 countries in the Eastern Caribbean have been deemed as safe for citizens of the U.S. to travel. According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention in the U.S., the countries that have no travel notice issued against them are Anguilla, Grenada, Montserrat, St. Kitts Nevis, and St. Lucia, as the likelihood of contracting COVID-19 in those countries is very low. However, the CDC has listed as level 3 countries the British Virgin Islands, Antigua and Barbuda, Barbados, Guadeloupe, Martinique, Puerto Rico, St. Martin, Trinidad and Tobago, Turks and Caicos Islands, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. The CDC says level 3 means that the likelihood of contracting the virus is high, very high. For those countries, the CDC urges travelers to avoid and consider postponing non-essential travel. The U.S. regularly issues travel warnings and alerts against countries because of widespread violence and natural disaster. But that does not mean that persons are banned from visiting those countries. Due to the coronavirus pandemic, almost all countries have been placed on the CDC's COVID-19 travel recommendations by destination. But the U.S. still has the highest number of coronavirus cases and COVID-19 deaths in the world. And finally tonight, international news. France has reported a large jump in new COVID-19 cases ahead of a nighttime curfew being imposed on Paris and 8 other cities on Saturday. A further 30,621 infections were confirmed today, up from 22,591 the previous day. The World Health Organization has warned that tough restrictions are absolutely necessary to save lives. Millions in Europe have been told that they must live under strict new measures as governments battle a second wave of coronavirus. From Saturday, socializing indoors will be banned in London as the UK capital and other areas of England will be put under a higher COVID alert. As well as France, Italy, Poland and Germany all recorded their largest daily rise in new cases on Thursday since mass testing began. Russia recorded its highest number of daily fatalities since the start of the epidemic, with 286 persons reported to have died from the virus in just one day. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting. Have a safe night.